Rinos. Happy Zombie Carpenter Day. Well, I hear the Pope didn't even bother to comment on the growing controversy over sexual abuse in the Roman Catholic Church. Is anybody surprised? Gotta maintain that bureaucracy. Gotta maintain that money coming in. After all, they always need another tall, pointy hat or another gold chalice. It's rather a shame, because with this growing controversy over sexual abuse in the church, there is no joking the consequences to people, to individuals, and to lives, and to society. I offer in evidence the following footage. We do indeed, unfortunately, have these problems in Canada. And while I wouldn't show children that have been victimized this way, these adult men have chosen to publicly speak of what has happened to them and of their pain. Please give a few minutes to the following footage.
When I was a young boy, and other boys, when this happened to me, I was put into a dark, dark hole, a dark, dark place. And I cannot describe to you the pain that I entered into, the shame that I felt, the degree of disgustingness inside that I was put into. I didn't ask for that. But then, after this happened, I couldn't say nothing about it. But isn't it obvious in other dioceses and so on, when it comes to the brotherhood of the priesthood and the bishopry and all those other levels of church government, isn't it very clear and fair to say that in many other incidents, they just want to send the priest for renewal and hope it goes away? My brother came forward in the last couple of days and feels forced into it and would rather possibly not speak to you, and everybody knows him also. And he can testify to the fact that he was approached also several times, and I know of, and names are mentioned of other boys that were approached and touched, and probably, and I'm afraid that can't come forward and won't come forward. And this is the problem. That's the problem. Is it just me that sees that as a problem? This is hard enough today to come out and make myself vulnerable. And like, just for instance, yesterday, before I came up here, I left a local coffee shop in Port Hawkesbury, and this man glanced at me through the windshield of his window, and I just took a step back, and I said to my daughter, "Did you see that fellow look at me?" And she said, "Yeah, but I mean, don't be silly. He doesn't know anything about it." I said, "Yeah, but tomorrow after this is all done, what am I going to think when people look at me?" Young boy, and many things happen, and I wanted to be a good Catholic. If I was going to get to heaven, right, then I had to do whatever I could do on my part to gain my place in heaven. Wouldn't have I? That's my thinking, right? And that's what the church tells me. So I approached the priest probably several times, wanted to be an altar boy, right? And so at this point, all my trust and everything that I knew up until this point in my life was in this building, was through this man, and this was going to... I have a friend that died in 1969, and I said, I want to see him again. He was killed in a car accident in Hardwishy, young boy. That was part of my motivating factor to be a good person, was to see this young boy again, because we were friends in grade 1. He ripped me down, chewed me up, and spit me out, and I lost trust.
What were the circumstances? Not necessarily the acts, but what were the circumstances under which he lured you into the belief house to commit these acts that are causing such pain for you?
Well, how would he lure me in? Hockey games,
after Mass, for example.
hockey games, alcohol, free pizza. I'm from a family of 13. My mother and father worked hard, and they supplied the groceries. But every young boy, I'm sure, that they get a little extra pizza and a couple of beer and alcohol that your parents don't know about. That was part of a luring factor. And I can't speak for everybody else, but I'll tell you one thing. When he put me into that dark place, I couldn't even speak out.
Doing this for these these unknown people.
There's unknown people. Is there unknown people? Oh yeah, there is, because you know what? This is my brother Warren here.
A good example of that would be I would not have come forward before this timeline. I definitely would not have. I didn't realize, I only found out about this Monday evening. I didn't realize how much that this rehashing of my past has affected me until, especially the last couple of days. The Catholic Church has to change its ways, its doctrine. They're creating pedophiles. It's obvious. It's been repeated and repeated and repeated. It's nothing. It's been on the news. It's obvious. Things have to change, and that's another major factor going to be in this case. It takes a great deal to be here today. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my entire life. I told I have a daughter 12 and a boy 14. I sat them down Tuesday night, and I had to tell them that I was coming forward. First reaction of my daughter was she slapped me in the face for coming forward. She was embarrassed. It's a reaction. She's young. I don't hold any grudges to her. She's a beautiful little girl. But things have to change.
What change do you see?
Well, you know
The
what?
church has to change. They can't keep creating this problem. This is a problem.
Well, not just change, they have to stop ignoring.
Rob Talik from Ottawa Beckett. There was a question earlier about the settlement and the disclosure provisions. You all have it at tab 7. There's one paragraph on the defendant, the diocese disclosure, and that simply produced documents on the perpetrator. There's a saying that the greatest engine of truth is cross-examination. There isn't even an examination of the diocese in this settlement agreement. So, I mean, I encourage you to read it and see if it's balanced with respect to the information that comes from the victims compared to the information that comes from the diocese. I would suspect that the people of this province and the people of this particular diocese wants to know what went on, wants to know how deep the rot was or is, and needs to know. You can't fix a problem unless you know what it is. So if we're all happy to pay off everyone and move on, then things are great. If you want more, then you have to ask for more. And I think that's what Mr. Latimer is doing here today.
Well, as you have seen, the pain of these people is beyond measure, and the responsibility of the Catholic Church in their fate is incalculable. I find it rather shameful that the Pope should choose to completely ignore this issue in his recent address on Easter Sunday. And it gives rise to an old saying that silence gives assent. From this point on, I think I can no longer give any support to any kind of organized religion. In the past, I have tried to see the good things that they do, for I do respect individuals that have spiritual beliefs and live these principles through their lives in responsible manners. But you know, from this point forward, I don't think I can support that position anymore. From this day forward, I officially believe that organized religions should be abolished. The good that they do in the world is far overtaken by the negative effects and the horrible bureaucracies and self-interested people that would let those abuses go. No, I can no longer support that. If you're a spiritual person and you believe in religion, that's your choice, and I will support that. If you believe in an organized church, we are now in opposition, for I can no longer support that kind of thinking. I guess we're enemies. For the rest of you, peace and long life.